This is Jonathan Aggie of Fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Gareth A Davies on a huge fight week this week. Canelo and Crawford, Crocker, Donovan 2. Gareth, you were covering the bare knuckle this weekend. How did Lucas Brown get on?
He looked absolutely brilliant. Hello, and great to see you again. He looked absolutely brilliant. Presence, poise, power in the Trigon, and he dealt with his opponent, Corey, very, very well indeed. Corey Harrison, I believe. He looked brilliant in there. I spoke to him afterwards. He really enjoyed it. He's chasing a rematch with Kamil Sokolovsky, who's in position to fight for the heavyweight bare knuckle BKB title. But obviously, those two have got beef after a fight in Scotland about 5 or 6 years ago. But it was great to be around him. He enjoyed it very much. He's got a 3-fight deal. And I think you're going to see more and more names like that coming into BKB, into the bare knuckle boxing. It was a great. It's always, I've enthused about it to you before. It's always a great card, and I think BKB is really growing.
Yeah, because James DeGale's about to fight there. I think it's September, October.
Yeah, on the other organisation,
Oh,
he's
right, okay.
in a fight with Matt Floyd, and there's
Yeah.
all these weird allegations and accusations around that. I don't know if you've seen that, but very odd that James DeGale is sliding into his DMs and abusing him or whatever is going on. These accusations anyway. So yeah, but he's coming back. He's been out a long time now. So we shall see what he's got left.
Quick one on Crocker Donovan, because I think, we should talk about that. It's a world title fight rematch. How do you think this one's going to go? Because, a lot of people had Donovan winning pretty comfortably in the first one until he got disqualified.
He did, by Marcus McDonald, for throwing a punch after the bell at the end of the eighth round, when he really did look like he had Lewis Crocker finished. I think Paddy Donovan goes into this as the favourite. Number one in Ireland versus the number one in the UK, Northern Ireland, obviously. Number six in the world in Crocker at welterweight. And number 48, no, sorry, 16th in the world, I think Donovan is on the BoxRec rankings. Really good fight. The fact it's received the oxygen of publicity because of the disqualification last time makes it a bigger event. Windsor Park, the football ground for Northern Ireland, of course. 18,000 will be in there. It'll be a brilliant night. You know what a great fight city Belfast is. So, and the IBF title that was once held by Jaron Ennis, now available and vacant. So 6 months on, boxing has a weird habit of creating more drama when there's controversy or it doesn't seem like it's gone right for the fighters. So it's good for Donovan, it's good for Crocker, because they're having an even bigger payday on a bigger platform in front of a greater and bigger crowd for a greater prize. Tic-tac-toe.
Mm. Right.
King.
Straight afterwards.
Segue to Vegas.
Yeah, pretty much. It is. Yeah, you'll be, I'm sure, on the machines, or what are you, a
No,
roulette
no,
guy?
like a bit. I like some cards. I like playing cards and roulette. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, but it's going to be a busy week. Canelo and Crawford. Give me how you see this fight playing out, not round by round, but the first three rounds, the next sixth. How are you seeing this?
I've got to say that I first of all went with Crawford. I thought his acuity and his skills and his and his timing and all those things that we've seen. I went with Crawford, but as the weeks have gone on, I've gone back to Canelo, and I think it will be a feeling out process early on. Very close rounds in the first three or four. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. Rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and in my view will win the fight. Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away. And I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for. And I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down. And if he does go down, he'll get up. I think it'll be a very, very close affair. And I think even if in those last 6 rounds, Crawford's got Canelo's number in terms of movement and timing, I still think if it's very close in rounds, I think it'll either be a draw or a narrow points decision for Saul Canelo Alvarez that everybody feels is very controversial, and then they'll do it again. That's how I see it playing. That's the plot, if you like, with the subplots in the drama of one of the biggest fights we've seen in Vegas since, I think, comparatively, Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather.
How do you compare this to Mayweather Pacquiao?
Well, these two are still in their prime, if you like. I know Canelo's slightly slowed, 20 years in the sport, 67 fights, but he's still only 35. And William Skull, which was our last iteration of watching him, he was fighting a guy that was never coming forward and was always running away. And Canelo reportedly was getting $40 million for a walk in the park, so he just took the walk in the park. You know, he put the dog on the lead, let him off the lead, and just let the dog go. You know, to use an analogy, and just went for a walk while the dog ran around the field. And that's I don't. I'm talking about it was that easy. You know, I just think we've got Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard type fight. Sugar Ray Leonard being Terence Crawford and Hagler being Canelo. But I've just got a feeling this will end up as a two-fight extravaganza, two encounters. And I also think this is an amazing moment for Terence Crawford in his career. Not so for Canelo, even though it is a big event, he's being paid an enormous amount. But all the jeopardy is on him because you've got the much lighter guy coming up.
I saw a tweet from Pound for Pound on Twitter earlier saying, I'm hearing from a close source that Terence Crawford's shoulder that he had surgery on has been flaring up in camp. Have you heard any? I mean, this always happens. Big fights, big rumours. I'm guessing you haven't heard anything about a potential injury?
No, I hadn't. And you get these things coming into fight weeks, and he needs to be at 100%. Well, if it's a serious injury, he's going to struggle in this fight. You know, because he's going to need all his wherewithal against Canelo, who's a much smarter fighter than people widely give him credit for. You speak to all those who've been in the ring with him, and they all say how clever he is. Suddenly he's in range, suddenly he's out of range, that his footwork is much more deft and subtle than he's given credit for. Yeah, well, I hope he's fit because he's going to need it.
Mm. When you look at, people talking about the fight and saying that Terence Crawford struggled a bit against Madrimov, is this a completely different fight, or can we read into that him struggling with the size?
I don't think he struggled with Madrimov. I think he did enough to win the fight, and that's how Terence fights. He might have to do something a little different in this one, but he's not someone that goes in there. He's so skillful, he can go in there, mirror someone and beat them. I think the one thing I would say with, the depictions of his physique that we've seen in the last few days is if he has got too muscled, it won't serve him that well because he's going to need to be fast all the way through the fight. And if anything, because he's heavier than he normally is, it's going to slow him. So if he is over muscled, it won't do him any favors. They know what they're doing in his camp. I think they were just optics, those pictures of him. I think he'll be 165. I think he'll be 165, 166. I think you're looking really good shape, and it's all about his speed and timing and acuity, as I say, in this fight to be able to do it. I've told you how I think it plays out. I could be completely wrong. They could do a Hagler Hearns and it could be over in 3 rounds. Who knows? And they're both down. You never know. But I think it'll be a fistic chess match, as we call it, a battle of intellectuality and muscularity.
What was your last one? What was your excitement for this fight when it first got announced compared to how you're feeling as we head into the fight week?
I'm really excited to go to Vegas. I'm really looking forward to seeing and witnessing the unfolding of TKO, Dana White, Turki Al-Sheikh. Um, I called when Terence Crawford beat Errol Spence in that majestic fashion. I remember saying at the time, I think he should go for Canelo now. But way back then, as a kind of dream fight for him, the ultimate fight. Because remember, he was so good against Errol Spence. We were the paeans to him were enormous. The plaudits for him, the praise for him was never ending. I remember saying at the time, I'd really like to see him fight Canelo because he's probably capable of doing it. Is he? We don't know. Will he? We don't know. But we're going to be there in person, you and I, to witness it. I cannot wait to be there. Massive occasion. First time in the Allegiant Stadium. Big stadium fight in Vegas that I've never been. I've never been to a stadium fight in Vegas before. And I've been going there since 1998. I've been there over 100 times with boxing and UFC events. So I'm really looking forward to it as being one of the greatest events I've ever attended in Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. Gareth, you're with who this week? Talksport and the Telegraph?
Talksport and the Daily Telegraph. I'm
Well,
just about to put a column on um, the arrival of Dana White, Netflix into boxing, and why that may and or may not be very successful. I think it is going to be very, very successful. You can already see the shoulder programming on Netflix this week that's growing day by day. So fascinating.
there's a lot of big names turning up this week, including Denzel Washington. And if there's anyone who can find them for an interview, it's definitely you. So keep your eyes peeled to what Gareth can get up to on fight night. You looking forward to it?
Absolutely, of course I am. Cannot wait. Absolutely going to be brilliant.
Brilliant. Gareth, all the best, safe travels, and enjoy the fight.